You check your credit score Monday morning, 740, solid, exactly where it should be. Friday afternoon, you check again, 710. You just lost 30 points in 4 days, and you have no idea why. Your stomach drops. You scan every transaction, hunting for the mistake. No late payments, no fraud alerts, no new accounts you didn't open. Nothing changed except that number staring back at you, mocking every responsible choice you've made. Nobody sent you a warning. Nobody explained what went wrong. The score just fell, and you're left wondering what you did to deserve it. This isn't just happening to you. Every single week, thousands of people who pay their bills on time, who never max out their cards, who follow every rule they were taught, watch their scores swing wildly for reasons that make no sense. You're doing everything right, and the system is punishing you anyway. The worst part is the silence. No explanation, no alert, just a lower number and the creeping anxiety that comes with it. But here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't your spending, it's not your payment habits, it's not even your debt. The problem is one calendar date buried in your credit card agreement that controls nearly 1/3 of your entire score, and it's not the date you think it is.
I'm David, and 6 months ago, I watched my credit score drop 40 points overnight. I hadn't missed a payment in years. I hadn't opened new accounts. I hadn't done anything differently. But there it was, falling for no apparent reason, threatening a mortgage refinance I'd been planning for months. That drop cost me thousands in higher interest rates, and I became obsessed with finding out why. I pulled my credit reports from all 3 bureaus every month. I called credit card companies and sat through hold music until someone could explain their reporting process. I interviewed former credit analysts who'd worked inside FICO. I tracked down regular people who'd watched their scores mysteriously crater, and others who'd somehow cracked the code, boosting scores from the 600s into the 700s in less than 60 days without paying off a single extra dollar of debt. What I found changed everything I thought I knew. The credit system isn't broken. It's just playing by completely different rules than the ones we were taught in personal finance class. The single biggest rule, the one controlling 30% of your score, has nothing to do with how much you spend or whether you pay on time. It has everything to do with one date that 90% of people can't even find on their statement. This video is going to expose that date, show you exactly why it's tanking your score even when you're doing everything right, and give you a simple system to take control starting today. I'm going to show you how one 2-minute timing change can boost your score 30 to 50 points in a single month without spending less or paying off more debt. If you've ever felt confused and frustrated by credit scores that don't make sense, hit subscribe right now. That one click helps this reach others who need to hear it.
Here's what most people believe about how credit cards work. You use your card during the month. The bill arrives. You pay it before the due date. The credit bureaus see that you paid on time and in full. Your score stays healthy. Simple, fair, logical. That belief is costing you points every single month. The credit reporting system doesn't work like a live scoreboard that updates every time you make a payment. It works like a security camera that snaps one photograph of your account per month. Just one, a single frozen moment in time. And here's the part that changes everything. That photograph gets taken weeks before your payment is even due. So even though you pay everything off, even though you never carry a balance from month to month, even though you avoid interest charges completely, the credit bureaus never see that clean $0 account. They only see the snapshot. And that snapshot almost always catches you at your worst possible moment, when your balance is highest, right before you were planning to pay it off anyway. This is why your score drops when you've done nothing wrong. This is why responsible people get punished with bad numbers. The system photographs your debt, not your payment, and the timing of that photograph is hidden in fine print that almost nobody reads. Once you understand when that photograph happens, you can control exactly what the camera sees. That's when everything changes.
Let me show you how a credit card billing cycle actually works, because this is where the trap is hidden. Every credit card has a billing cycle, usually 30 days. Let's say yours runs from the 10th of one month to the 9th of the next. During those 30 days, you swipe your card for groceries, gas, subscriptions, whatever. Every purchase adds to your running balance. On the 9th, the cycle closes. Your bank freezes whatever balance exists at that exact moment and generates your statement. This date, the statement closing date, is the most important date in your entire credit life, and most people don't even know it exists. Why does it matter so much? Because whatever balance appears on that statement is the exact number your bank reports to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. That number gets stamped onto your credit file. It stays there for 30 days. It determines 30% of your entire credit score. But here's the trap. Your payment isn't due on the 9th. It's due about 3 weeks later, maybe on the 3rd of the following month. Imagine you spent $2,000 during your billing cycle. On the 9th, the statement closes, showing that $2,000 balance. That number gets reported to all 3 bureaus. Then on the 3rd, you pay off every dollar, zero interest, perfect payment history. But the credit bureaus don't see that payment. They only see the $2,000 from 3 weeks ago. To them, it looks like you're carrying $2,000 in debt all month long. This gap between what gets photographed and what actually happens is destroying scores for millions of people who think they're doing everything right. You're paying responsibly, but you're being judged on a snapshot taken before you paid.
Now let me show you why that reported balance matters so much, because this is where the score damage actually happens. Your credit score is built on 5 categories. Payment history is the biggest at 35%, but right behind it at 30% is something called amounts owed, and that's almost entirely driven by credit utilization. Credit utilization is simple math. It's your reported balance divided by your credit limit. If you have a $3,000 limit and the statement shows $900, your utilization is 30%. The FICO algorithm watches this percentage obsessively, and it has specific thresholds that trigger immediate score changes. Below 10% utilization, you're in the optimal zone. Your score is maximized. Between 10% and 30%, you're fine. Not perfect, but not in danger. Cross above 30% and the algorithm starts worrying. It flags you as someone leaning too heavily on credit. Your score drops. Cross 50% and it drops harder. Push toward 100%, maxing out your card, and your score can collapse 50 to 100 points almost instantly. This applies 2 ways. First, to your overall utilization across all cards combined. Second, to each individual card. Even if your total utilization is low, maxing out one single card will hurt you. But here's the critical piece of good news. Unlike a late payment that haunts your credit report for 7 years, utilization has 0 memory. The FICO model only looks at your most recently reported balance. If you were at 80% last month and dropped 40 points, but this month you report 5%, your score bounces right back, immediately. One good snapshot erases the damage from the bad one. So how do you fix this? How do you control what that snapshot shows? The answer is simpler than you think. Instead of paying after the statement arrives, you pay before the statement closes. You're still paying the same total amount. You're still avoiding interest. You're just changing when the payment hits, so the camera catches you at your best instead of your worst.
Here's the exact process. First, find your statement closing date for every credit card you own, not your due date, your statement closing date. Open your last statement or log into your account. Look for language like billing cycle ends or statement closing date. Write it down for each card. This is your new most important date. Second, set a phone reminder for 2 days before that closing date. This buffer gives your payment time to process and post to your account before the snapshot happens. Third, when that reminder goes off, log in and check your current balance. Let's say it's $1,400 and your limit is $5,000. You want to report about 5% utilization, which would be $250. So you manually send a payment of $1,150 right then, before the statement closes, not through autopay, manually. Fourth, wait for the statement to generate. When it does, it should show only $250. That's the number reported to the bureaus. That's what the camera sees. Clean, low, optimized.
Fifth, pay that remaining $250 before the actual due date 3 weeks later. You still pay zero interest, you still avoid late fees, but now the bureaus see a completely different version of your financial life. Same spending, same total paid, completely different credit report. Here's a bonus detail that can add another 10 to 15 points. Don't report zero on every card. The FICO algorithm wants to see active credit use. People with perfect 850 scores typically report between 1 and 7% utilization. So on one card, leave a small balance, maybe $10 or $20. Let that report, then pay it off before the due date. This signals active, responsible use without carrying actual debt month to month.
Before you start doing this, there are 2 critical warnings you need to hear. First, don't confuse smart timing with something called credit cycling. If you have a $2,000 limit and spend $2,000, pay it off, then spend another $2,000 in the same billing cycle, you just pushed $4,000 through a card approved for $2,000. Banks flag this as potential fraud or money laundering. They can freeze your account or shut it down entirely. Only make this timing adjustment once per cycle. Don't repeatedly pay and spend within the same 30 days. Second, don't close old credit cards you're not using. Your total available credit is part of the utilization formula. If you close a card with a $6,000 limit, you just erased $6,000 from your available credit. Your balances stay the same, but your utilization percentage spikes instantly. Keep those old cards open. Put a small recurring subscription on them, set them to autopay, and let them quietly boost your total available credit in the background.
Here's your action plan. Find your statement closing date today. Set a reminder for 2 days before. When that reminder goes off, pay your balance down to about 5% of your limit. Let the statement generate. Then pay the rest before the due date. That's it. Try this for 1 billing cycle, just 1. Then check your credit monitoring app and watch what happens. When you see your score jump, come back and drop a comment with how many points you gained. That feedback helps others believe this actually works. And if this video just gave you a completely new understanding of how credit works, hit subscribe. More videos like this are coming, and you don't want to miss them. The credit system isn't designed to be understood. It's designed to operate in the shadows while you guess at the rules. But once you crack the code, you stop being a victim of mysterious drops and take control instead. And that control is worth a lot more than 30 points. It's worth the confidence of knowing exactly how the game is played and exactly how to win it. I'll see you in the next one.